morning, but last night we had the big night out in Conway. So many different discussions we had, and it was just quite encouraging to see and listen to how much support was for the agricultural sector within the general public last night, just locally in Conway, and how disgruntled and how disappointed they felt and they feel with the new Labour government and a lot of things they were doing. Bloody phone. But I do think as well there has to be more conversations and there has to be more people challenging what the government's doing. This is not just to the farming community, you know, what they're doing to the pensioners. I think we have a massive battle ahead of us as a country, you know, to make sure that we can keep the services running. But I definitely don't believe that the public sector should be held up by the private sector, and literally that's what's happening. Yeah, we need to pay our taxes, which we do on everything. We pay taxes like everybody else, and now, you know, the only thing that we were exempt from was inheritance tax, which rightly so. And if you think that, you know, an average 200 acre farm, family farm, won't be doing, you know, the money, they'll be very asset rich, but they won't be turning over a massive profit. And you know, if they're lucky, they will be making 10 to 15,000 per annum. Now, if somebody then dies within that family farm, how the hell is that small business going to be able to afford to pay, you know, the money on inheritance tax? So we've got a scenario where the government have said this is only going to hit 20% of the agricultural sector. Well, that is absolute bullshit. They've looked into it and it's more like 75% of the agricultural sector is going to be hit. Now, these people have not done their due diligence. They haven't, you know, done a financial assessment on the problems that are going to come from this inheritance tax. And if we look across the board, the majority of these smaller family farms are the ones that are going to be hit. Yeah, we talk about £1 million, and then if the spouses is up to 3 million. But today, that's not a lot of money. I know it's going to sound a lot to people that live in cities, but this is our factory floor. You know, this is the land we use to produce food which is affordable to the nation. So what's going to have to give? Well, either food prices, they're going to have to skyrocket, or what we're going to see is big corporate companies coming in to buy these farms, because a lot of these people are getting older. The farming community average age, I think, is about 65 or 67. Now, if you look at that across the board, that is a massive challenge to bring youngsters into this industry. And if they're not going to come in, who's going to farm the land? Who's going to produce the food? Who's going to feed people? So do you believe that we can still, you know, import food from across the world? So this government has given millions, I think it's 530 million, to other countries so they can produce food sustainably. What sense does that make to anyone? What sense? Charity should start at home, and that money should be spent on the people in this country. At 530 million, which is something similar to what they will be able to recoup from inheritance tax, that should be going into the NHS. But we can't keep throwing money at the NHS, at train drivers, at, you know, everybody within society. I think what needs to be done is that we need to weed out some of the middle management, some of the jobs worth in all these sectors. Yes, we need to invest into our nurses. Yes, we need to invest into our teachers. Yes, we need to invest into our GP surgeries. But let's cut out some of this red tape. Let's cut out some of this middle management. Look at the water boards now. Welsh Water are, giving a 25% increase to us, to everybody. Their head honcho is on £300,000 a year and 90,000 in bonus. 90,000. So 390,000 of wage. Who the hell is worth that? Well, us and them, we're going to be paying so much more for our water now, which, look, we have to have water, but they haven't been investing into the infrastructure. They've been pouring sewage into our seas, into our watercourses, and blaming the farmers. It's absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous what's been going on, and the farmer has been blamed for a lot of this. Going back to businesses, national insurance upped again, and that is going to cost jobs. That's going to cost jobs to many businesses. I'm talking to a lot of businesses across the country. We've got a big social media platform. People are talking about laying people off. They can't afford to pay their wages, because it's their wage rise is going to go up so much. So this new government hasn't looked at that. Another thing that's really pissed me off majorly is we've got a number one song in Great Cross Everywhere by the Granny Hammers, and it's a great song, and the BBC themselves aren't playing it. Does that say something about the nation where the British Broadcasting Corporation isn't playing number one because it's most probably deemed as political? Well, you know what, wake up and smell the coffee. Everything is political and everything needs to be shared. We are so lucky today that we have social media and we can share our stories, our problems and our joys. And I feel this morning, after being out last night, a lot more confidence in going forward, that when the next general elections and when the Welsh elections come as well, there might be a massive shake-up in politics, and about bloody time, because at this moment I don't trust any of them.